guys, and welcome back to my channel. Layla here, and today I'm going to be checking out the Tombow dual brush pens, and this is the Bright Pack color selection. So if you're a big fan of Tombow and their dual brush pens like I am, you'll know that the dual brush pens come in packs of 10, each pack containing its own color selection. So this is the bright colors, and I think it's the most expensive pack that they have. Well, on Amazon, it's $16.38. And on the Tombow.com website, they have it listed for $26.99. I have no idea why it's so expensive on the official site, but I went ahead and bought the 108-piece set just so I could have all of the colors. But I figured I'd do reviews of each sort of smaller pack, because I know a lot of people are fans of just buying them in the smaller packs because they're more affordable. Otherwise, it's like $100 plus for the huge all-color pack. So I'm starting off with these. And I've got watercolor paper to color on. And I'm just going to go ahead and color swatch them. And I'm using watercolor paper because the markers are water-based ink. I really like this vibrant reddish pink color, 755. And then there's 743. And those are the colors. And basically every pack comes with actually 9 colors, and then you get your colorless blender pen. I'm going to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of this blender pen, so you won't really see me use it much, if at all. But I will be using my watercolor brush pen, I think is what these things are called. The one I'm using is not real like crazy fancy. It's just a watercolor brush pen that I happen to have on hand. And the cool thing about this is you can go ahead and pull the color from your Tombows and create like a little watercolor wash. And so that's why I basically work with watercolor paper, because I do like to add water to these colors. And that's that. But first, I'm going to test out some hand lettering, because a lot of you all tend to purchase these just for hand lettering. And getting smooth hand lettering is a little bit more difficult when using watercolor paper, but not impossible. And so I'm just going to do every single color, because this is pretty much just my test sheet where I can just see how everything looks. And I personally don't always use my Tombows just for hand lettering. I really enjoy using them for coloring. All right, and there we go. Tested out every color. Oh, it's so pretty. But I mainly like to color with them, like I said. So I'm going to be coloring this girl. And so I drew this up in Paint Tool Side digitally and then printed it out on watercolor paper. And I'm going to basically stick to this color selection to color it in. I also recommend having a little plasticky thing. It just helps, especially when you're using a watercolor brush pen like this, because basically, since we are dealing with water-based markers, streaking is an issue, and it just makes blending a little harder. But so if I put my color down on the plastic thingy, whatever this is, then I can sort of like blend the colors and then pick it up with my watercolor brush pen and then be able to paint with the two colors either mixed or going into one another. This one didn't really work out as well. Okay. And so the blending of the colors just becomes easier, and the plastic thing just overall helps. And so I'm thinking I'm going to make her skin bluish. And I don't want to go directly with the color down on the paper because it'd be way too strong. But I went ahead and I put it on the plastic paper, and I'm going to sort of just watercolor the blue on. And then I went ahead and picked up some purple and I'm adding it to her cheeks. And then when I have basically most of it dry, I do go in with the brush pen itself just to get some really dark shadows. And that is one of the cool things about adding water, is that you're able to get a ton more value out of just one color. And I say that because I feel like when people look at a 10 pack, they're not sure if it's worth it because the color selection is so limited. But since they're water-based, you can do so much more. On one of my previous videos that I did of these markers, I got a comment stating how they felt that the fact that I had to put the color down on this plastic sheet and then use my watercolor pen to color with felt sort of gimmicky. And I definitely see where they're coming from, because this does feel like a super long-winded sort of way of watercoloring. But I do also feel like it does have its advantages. One being that for someone who's not a watercolor artist, like me, I don't really consider myself too much of a watercolor artist. I feel like it's a good transitioning tool. And I do really feel that these sort of markers are geared more towards doodling and pattern making and things like that. But I like using it for big pieces like this just to sort of show what it can do. Like, this is what you could do if you wanted to, especially if you're being creative in your bullet journal and wanted to do something a little bit more on the epic side. Instead of breaking out the watercolors, you'll most likely already have these out and on hand, and you can easily just do what you want to do with these markers rather than change up your medium. And so now I'm just using my yellow Tombow, which is the 055, adding in some strong yellow into her hair. I really want to give the colors in her hair really interesting, so I figured I'd use a combination of greens and yellow, and I probably am going to put some orange in it too. And I'm just using these markers as is. So it's not like you're chained to having to use the watercolor brush marker all the time. It just needs to be there to help you. And so I went with this purple color for her jacket, and I'm feeling kind of conflicted over it. I like it, but I'm getting a little nervous over what the final look is going to consist of. But I don't know. I may be worried over nothing. So I'm just going to keep going and just add some shading as I keep coloring it in. And hopefully it'll just come together as I do with all my works. And now I'm just using the bullet nib to get some details in on the cuff of the sleeve. And the design of this character is based off of an avatar I saw on Gaia Online. It's where I usually get my inspiration from when it comes to character designing, to like get some good ideas on what to create. Because sometimes, I don't know, a lot of people use like Pinterest and Instagram, but I tend to usually default back to Gaia when Pinstagram and when Pinterest and Instagram aren't working for me. Now I'm doing the scarf in the darker purple, and it is way too wet. What in the world? I have to clean that up a bit. It's supposed to be a super strong dark purple, but first time didn't really work. Let me see if I use less water. There we go. Yeah, now I'm getting a much richer color without so much water. And I'm going to give her underdress a pop of color against the purple, I guess I should say, because the entire thing is super bright and colorful. So I wouldn't really say it's a pop of color, but it's a distinguishable color against all the blues and cool colors I've got going on here in the middle. And then I'm going to use my bullet nib again on my darker purple and start doing some shading, and then add some shading to the lower part of her scarf as well. I think I might just color this back part of the scarf in completely with the darker purple. That way you can see that it receives less light. There we go. And I think I might continue with this really dark purple and color in the lamppost with it. I mean, because I originally imagined this to be black, but I don't have a black color, and this purple is the darkest color I have in this set, so figured it'd be a good substitute. And the brush nib is really perfect for getting in these really, really small areas. It's super tapered in order to get into these thinner parts. And so far, I've owned these for about a little over half a year, and I haven't had any sort of fraying on the brush nib, which is definitely really good. And I really feel that Tombow and their products are very high quality and well made, which I feel like is expected given their price, but it's nice to know that it is worth it. All right, so now I'm going to do the background. And I am a little nervous because doing backgrounds is always nerve-wracking, I feel. I'm trying to see if I can go for a nice colorful sunset. At least that's the goal. Let's see what happens. So I'm starting out with this orangey color and just going up. All right, let's see if I can effectively add some pink. Well, it's not too bad. It's a little darker than I thought it would be, but I do like how it's turning out. I definitely feel it's quite sunsetty. All right, so I'm not too crazy about how the sky ended up looking. I feel like I lost a little bit of control with the water that I was using. So now I'm just focusing on the bottom half of the background. And then I'm going to do this really light green color on the sides, kind of for where grass would be. And then I'm going to do the lamp lights in yellow. And then I'm just going to finish the background using the actual markers. And I'll be adding some texture, little pieces of grass here and there. And then I want to get in some like details of cobblestone. And I'm using this yellow to do it because I don't want the color to be too dark, and yellow seems to be my lightest color. And I'm not looking for like perfect symmetry when it comes to these cobblestones. Usually cobblestone type roads aren't symmetrical and the stones aren't the same size, things like that. So I've got like a little bit of waviness, like where it's higher here and lower here. And then I want my light fixtures to look a little bit glowy. So I'm just coloring around the outside edges. May even add a little bit of orange just right on the outer rim. Yeah, the orange definitely makes it look much more like a light that's glowing. And then finally her boots, which I'm going to do in the same sort of dark purple, because otherwise I would make them black, but like I said before, I don't have a black. And then I'm going to finish off with the bullet nib, getting in some of the details and darker areas. And a part of me kind of wants to color in the clouds, but I kind of feel like I should keep them white because there's just so much color going on, and I feel like they provide a nice resting place for the eyes, so I might just leave them white. And that's that. So these colors are definitely bright. I feel like the entire piece is a little bit clashy, super Lisa Frank looking, but I like Lisa Frank, so I'm good. I do think the execution of the background, I don't know, just could have been better. I guess I just used a little bit too much water, but overall, I really enjoy the piece. I really love working with Tombow. I think their colors are amazing and the quality of their brush pens are awesome. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, maybe comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thanks, guys. Bye.